Here we've got the beautiful mountain devil, or Lambertia famosa. I'm competing a bit with the little ants here at the moment. So we've got a beautiful, there you go mate, jump off. Got a beautiful nectar inside which these ants are getting to. Just spin it around, and don't do this too much because the honey eaters, the birds, little sugar gliders and that need this nectar. Okay, you squeeze it out there. Not a great deal in this, just a little bit, probably a bit late in the day. Plus I've had a bit of rain which might have washed it out, but nevertheless quite a nice citrusy taste. Now I was told by elders when I was a kid, don't have more than 10, Jake. So I got to about 25 a few years back, and I said, I wonder why they told me that. So being the cheeky devil that I can be sometimes, I've given it a bit of a try, and I've sucked down about 15, which are absolutely beautiful. Very soon after, I broke out in hives all over my body, and my glands looked like I'd swollen a toothbrush. Okay, so good tucker, but moderation is key when it comes to the Lambertia famosa or mountain devil. Alright, here we got another Persunia or G-bung. And I showed you the broadleaf, or it's possibly a hybrid. But if you give this, the books will tell you you've got to wait for these to ripen. Okay, wait till they fall from the tree until they're ripe. But if you give it a bit of a shake, sometimes some ripe ones might drop off for you. And if I gather these up at the top, together like so, reach over here, pull these over without snapping the branch. It's quite a delicate tree. Give it a shake. Look at this, we've got quite a few ripe ones dropping off now. So I'll gather some of these up. Let's see how this one is. It's got a different taste out of the 42 species again. It's got a different taste. Tim Lowe's book tells you there's 100 different species of G-bung. He might have been including hybrids because they do hybridise or breed. Okay, and Les Robinson's book tells you there's 42 species. I've seen about 10 or 15 around here. This is a nice juicy one. So this is Persunia pinifolia, pine leafed. Delicious, juicy, nutty. Alright, here we got the Eucalyptus piperita, subspecies piperita, one of the gum trees that we get around here. Now it's really, really handy stuff if you've got a cold. It's another one that the pharmaceutical industry tapped into. They used to use it for treating migraine headaches. It's got a thing called piperitone in it, which is probably where they get the name piperita. And that is a pharmaceutical precursor to menthol. So give it a bit of a crush and inhale it. It's really good for headaches, and it'll clear you right up. It will make your nose run, so you got to watch out for that. I'll get rid of my hiccups that I've got at the moment, just got the hiccups. Give it a crush. It'll make your nose run after about 3 or 4 minutes of doing that, and then it's pretty gross. But the best thing to do is a what we call a bushman's blowy here on the Central Coast, and then straight away start to inhale again. If you've got the flu, you can bathe in a heap of these leaves, scrunch them up and rub them on your chest, on the back of your neck. Inhale the beautiful minty smell, okay? And it won't take away the flu, but it will reduce the symptoms a little bit. Beautiful smell. I'll grab some more of that.
There's dozens more plants I could talk about around here, but we'll leave that for future docos, eh? I truly hope I've expressed the total need for the conservation of this last little patch of scrub up here. I use this local tucker and medicine to educate thousands of people between Sydney, Newcastle and beyond.
This is one I was talking about a bit earlier. It's the needlebush, which is a type of hakea. There's those hiccups again. This knife needs a bit of a sharpen, I think. But hopefully using my handy little crowbar, digging stick, I'll be able to chop this open if it's not still a little bit too young. There we go. Now, I'll just snap that open so you can see the little kernel inside there, which tastes just like a peanut. It's got a really good taste. So it's a lot of work for only a tiny little nut. Nevertheless, it is bush tucker. This is the huge Angophora. Some of the old locals around here call grandmother. She stretches out as if to protect the remnants of what may have been the meeting place of two ancient cultures from nearly opposite sides of the world.
I wanna know you, mate. I call you when you wake. And the price I'll have to pay will be falling to my knees.
Just grabbed a bit of leaf tips from a xanthorrhea or grass tree, or more commonly known as the black boy, but we don't call it that anymore. Studies on this concluded that it had up to twice the calorie content of potatoes. Okay, so we've got like a concentrated food here and also a little bit of moisture. So in a survival situation, got a little bit of water in there, and also that calorie content, which keep us walking, so we can go out and basically look for our protein or hunt for our protein. It's a bit like celery. He's always climbing on top of something, Benson. He loves it. I think he's got a bit of a rock wallaby or something in him, a bit of tree kangaroo. As soon as he finds a big rock, he likes to climb up there and have a look out. All right, here we are, just at the foot of the hieroglyphs. You've got to crawl through some of these little caverns through here, and there's also a little hole in the ground, which looks like it's possibly been made. There's an old story about some treasure being buried there. Every now and then I come up here, as I have today, and there's been a heap of rocks moved. Someone's dug down there, but I think if there was anything down there, it was probably taken out quite a long time ago. But we're just around the corner from the hieroglyphs, so let's come and get some footage, eh? Just watch your step when I get down there, if you just flip the door. Yep. The mystery of this place always grabs me. I'd love to know what more of these mean. We'll have to make sure we get enough shots so in case it is ever defaced, hopefully it's not, that it'll be able to be read at some stage in the future. Over here, I'm not sure if you'll be able to get this in, but we've got a definite ship, which is the only reference to the ship, and I guess this is from an anglicised point of view, might be the right term, but I'm kind of trying to read it from left to right, and a depiction of the sun. We may have reference to the snake with one of the brothers, one of the Egyptian brothers passing. There's really, really old stories getting around Woi Woi, the peninsula, Gosford area, the whole central coast, about these hieroglyphs being here.
This is Anubis. He was the god responsible for guiding the deceased on their journey to the afterlife. Whether or not some of these engravings have been recently done or regrooved, I'm not sure. Interestingly, there's been several different stories discounting the authenticity of these hieroglyphs, not just one. To name a few, I've heard it was university students, an Eastern European man, an intellectually disabled man, and quite a few other stories I've been told by people who've been so certain of the accuracy of their information. Given that, there still remains only one story that supports that these engravings are the real deal, and that's the story of the two Egyptian brothers. A German archaeologist studied these engravings some time ago and stated that in his expert opinion they were certainly worth further investigation, as he felt at least some of the engravings were authentic. Who did these engravings? Shipwrecked Egyptian men? Or a talented and eccentric Egyptology enthusiast with plenty of time on his hands? I say talented because there's hardly been a single slip of the chisel. The work is meticulous. And what is the artist trying to express? Maybe one day we'll know the full story of the Kariong hieroglyphs. Until then, let the wonders of possibility entertain your imagination, as it most certainly does mine.
Oh, we might make a move, Dylan. It's cool, eh?
Yeah.
As I leave this wonderful place, full of culture, mystery, and biodiversity, I ask myself a question. How can we allow this development to go ahead? I guess the answer to that question is really quite simple. We just can't allow this development to go ahead.
Running on empty, but my plate is full. I gotta go do the things I've known I've had to do. I finally sent a letter to the debt collector.
In the last doco, me, Dylan, and my dog Benson took you on an adventure to the mysterious Egyptian hieroglyphs at Bambara Road, Kariong, only an hour north of Sydney. I showed you some bush tucker, some bush medicine, and some other handy hints to know if you found yourself stuck out in the bush. Doco 1 focused on protecting Bambara Road from development. This area is surrounded by National Park on all four sides, is home to 12 known endangered flora and fauna species, and has the greatest amount of indigenous rock engravings in the world. Just up the road at the Australia Walkabout Wildlife Park, a mining company, Rockler, wants to extend their mine to the very edge of the park, which would force the 80-acre wildlife sanctuary to close. In 2008, me and some mates celebrated protecting Bambara and the release of my first doco on Aurora Channel Foxtel. Well, we thought we had that battle won. Little did we know, the real battle had only just begun.
Surrounded by National Park, the bushland near Woy Woy Road in Kariong is sacred to many Indigenous Australians. According to conservationists, the 56 hectares is home to a variety of threatened species and also features some Aboriginal rock paintings.
We've got quite a few different endangered flora and fauna, so If this isn't protected, then the Endangered Species Act of 1995 really doesn't mean that much.
Formerly farmland, the site is privately owned but hasn't been used for several decades. Now there are plans to build 7 houses on it.
They want to